September 27th, 1987, the 24th race of the season is set to begin at Martinsville Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Entering the 1987 Goody's 500, Dale Sr. was running away with the championship. After winning in 1986, their biggest threat towards the championship, or at least one of their biggest threats, Tim Richmond, was out for most of 1987 due to pneumonia. Well, as we know now, he had actually contracted the HIV virus. With Richmond out of the picture, Dale Earnhardt was basically unchallenged for all of 1987. Entering the 24th race of the season, they had already won 11 races and had the championship lead by more than 500 points. While he was on the verge of winning his third Winston Cup Series championship, the other two drivers a part of this story were in a totally different place. Darrell Waltrip moved on from Junior Johnson's team to drive for Hendrick Motorsports in 1987 after finishing runner-up in the championship. Before leaving, they had won multiple championships together. So what happened? Well, as Darrell Waltrip puts it on the SceneVaultPodcast, when he brought up the offer to Johnson, his reaction was less than enthusiastic.
I didn't want to leave. I loved it there. It was home, and I'd had so much success there. And Junior was in his office one day, and I walked in, he got my glasses on, and I was like that. I said, Junior, I said, got a minute? What do you want, boy? I said, I got a call from Rick Hendrick. Well, Junior didn't like Rick Hendrick. I got a call from Rick Hendrick, and he said he had a deal that I might be interested in, and he wanted to hire me and said he'd pay me $500,000 salary a year. So what do you think? And he looked at me and he said, boy, you need to go take that deal. And that was the end of our relationship. And Junior had convinced himself and most of the guys on the team that it was me, that I wasn't pushing the button, that I wasn't driving hard anymore, that I'd gotten hurt a few times, I was scared. We went to the last race, next to last race I think it was, at Atlanta, and we had a shot at winning a championship. We were racing Dale in 86, and somebody told me that knew Junior really, really well, that Junior went in the shop before we went to Atlanta and told the guys, do y'all really want him to win the championship when he's leaving here next year? You want to help him win the championship and he won't even be here? And they all looked at Junior like, what are you talking about? And Junior said, I'll tell you what we're going to do, boys. We're going to go up to the house up in the mountains. We're going to pick up sticks. And y'all let that car set. And I don't know if that's true or not. I never heard that before. It floored me because I never thought about Junior being that way. But I did hear that from a reliable source, and I've never really checked with anybody to see if it's true or not. I don't really know if I want to know if it's true or not.
Junior Johnson selected a Winston Cup champion to fill in DW's shoes, and that driver was Terry Labonte. Labonte had spent the previous few seasons driving for Billy Hagan, where they had won the 1984 Winston Cup Series championship. But fast forward a couple seasons later, and in 1986, they ended the season with 12 DNFs, most of them due to engine failures. Reliability was a major factor in Labonte leaving, and Junior Johnson, having been one of the best teams in NASCAR at the time, seemed like the perfect fit. You'd think these Cup champions changing teams would lead to wins. Well, at least not up to this point it didn't. They entered the 24th race of the season at Martinsville with 0 wins, but at least they were maintaining top 5 and top 10 points positions. Darrell Waltrip had been pushed outside of the top 5 and was now 6th, while Terry Labonte was sitting 4th, all while Dale Earnhardt was running away with the championship. Now that the scene's been set, let's talk about the race.
We are set to go green flag racing here at the Martinsville Speedway. Honorary starters waving the flag with Harold Kinder watching from behind, and Jeff Bodine with a little nudge alongside Morgan Shepherd gets a quick jump and a little nudge. Jerry, I'd like to have a dime for every time. I think I'm going to have to say that today.
I guarantee you they'll wear out the sheet metal today. None of the top 7 qualifiers have won this year on the tour. They're all hungry. Have to go all the way back to Earnhardt, who's been so dominant to find a winner. Bodine hasn't won. Shepherd hasn't won. And can you believe it? Terry Labonte in the Budweiser Chevy hasn't won either.
The race was broadcast on the Special Events Television Network, SETN for short. The channel doesn't exist anymore, but for 5 seasons, they broadcasted tape-delayed NASCAR races. Jeffrey Bodine was dominating the early portion of this race, while Terry Labonte and Dale Earnhardt were maintaining a top 5 running position. In the first 70 laps of the race, he was looking like the man to beat. And you're probably wondering, well, why didn't I mention him earlier amongst the other 3 drivers? Well,
Bobby Hillen Jr. in car number 8. Oh, and Hillen gets around. Richard Petty tags him. Bodine, the race leader, involved.
those damn lap cars. As a result, Jeffrey Bodine was forced to take it behind the wall, and while he didn't DNF and was able to run some laps, he certainly wasn't going to be winning that day. And just like that, our 3 drivers are now in the mix. Darrell Waltrip and Terry Labonte are both first and second, but Dale Earnhardt was caught a lap down under that caution and now has to drive through the field. Before Earnhardt caught up to the leaders, it really looked like it was both Labonte and Waltrip's race to lose, because outside of a couple of other drivers leading 1 lap due to green flag pit stops, Earnhardt, Labonte, and Waltrip led damn near the entire race. And that's not the only thing. They were the only 3 drivers to complete all 500 laps that day. The rest of the field either had some type of major issue happen or simply weren't fast enough. Those 3 were in a league of their own that day. However, Dale Sr. was in a league of his own all year. And even though the 3 drivers swapped the lead throughout different parts of the race, just like for most of the season, it was expected that Earnhardt would eventually run away with it. And that's exactly what was happening. He took the lead on lap 381 and wasn't looking back. And just to show how depleted the rest of the field was, Neil Bonnet was running 4th, multiple laps down. He was well on his way to what would have been his 12th victory of the season. Then all of a sudden,
For a while now, all the way back, as Harold Kinder gives him the 10 to go signal. We have been cautioned. Well, the spin there is Kenny Schrader. I was saying we were caution-free since lap 217. Bobby Allison spins now. They have just put out the caution. There is caution on the speedway inside of 10 laps to go.
oh my gosh, in a season where the 3 has had all the luck, now this happens? Of course, the 3 contenders are now going to get 4 fresh Goodyears. The number 3's in the lead with 3 laps to go and only 3 cars on the lead lap. Prior to the final lap, Labonte did everything he could to pass Senior on the inside cleanly, but when he couldn't, he tried the top entering 1, but coming off of 2, he was starting to lose some ground to Senior after being side by side, and now was about to lose the bottom to Waltrip.
Straight away, there's nobody sitting here in Martinsville. Oh, the 3 cars touch. They get together. Labonte spins. Waltrip stays low. Darrell Waltrip is going to win here at Martinsville. Waltrip takes the checkered flag.
Labonte taps the wall. He is there. He's just behind Earnhardt, but the inside groove is open. Here comes Darrell Waltrip up the inside. Let's see if there's contact. Labonte's car spins. He taps Earnhardt, gets Earnhardt out of shape. Labonte goes on around, and hanging on that bottom groove is Darrell Waltrip.
But that's the man who's celebrating. DW, Darrell Waltrip, wins at Martinsville Speedway.
That time I was in the right place. Dale run Terry in the wall going down the back. Terry tried to get back under him and got a little sideways, and I bumped him, and that was that.
Dale, can you tell me anything about what happened on the last lap?
NASCAR wants to look at the tape. In other words, Darrell won the race.
Terry, you got any comment at all?
No comment. Good race, guys.
Mr. France, I guess nothing can be decided or said at this time about the last lap incident. Is that the way it stands right now?
That's the way it stands right now. We're going to get one of your tapes and see what that shows. From what we saw up there, as far as the 17 is concerned, he looked like he was in pretty good shape.
In the end, it was just one of those racing deals. Nothing else came of it, and Darrell Waltrip walked away with the victory. This old headline from the Roanoke Times says it all. 497 Dole laps and 3 Goodies. Now, what ended up happening to these 3 contenders? Well, of course, Dale Earnhardt Sr. went on to win the 1987 Winston Cup Series championship and won a few more before he unfortunately passed in 2001 and is now regarded as the greatest NASCAR driver ever. Darrell Waltrip won a few more races for Hendrick Motorsports, but never could win another championship, and just like Senior, is also in the Hall of Fame. And finally, for Terry Labonte, there was some quick redemption, as he won the following race at North Wilkesboro. Later in his career, he would join Hendrick Motorsports and win some races as well as the 1996 championship, before retiring officially in 2014 and becoming a Hall of Famer. Now, as far as where the finish stands in NASCAR history, honestly, it's gone largely forgotten. forgotten. Outside of NASCAR posting the old race a few years ago, it rarely gets talked about or posted on social media. Hopefully that'll change now. In conclusion, some NASCAR finishes are remembered more than others, but certainly this one deserves a lot more recognition, not only for the finish, but just the backstory leading up to it. Darrell Waltrip in a way got revenge on his old team, and if you look back at the 86 season, there was that final lap incident at Richmond between him and Dale Earnhardt. So in a way, that was payback. And once again, that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.